This is BRICS Global Television Network's Daily Roundup. We begin with the headlines. The United Arab Emirates and France sign an agreement on artificial intelligence. Saudi Arabia joins the International Agency for Research on Cancer. A Russian scientist jailed for 14 years on treason charges. And the Women's Tennis Tour has partnered with the Kingdom's Sovereign Wealth Fund. Hello, I'm Juliet Newell. The United Arab Emirates has signed a strategic partnership agreement on artificial intelligence with France. The managing director of the Abu Dhabi government-controlled Mubadala Fund and French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire signed the agreement aimed at boosting cooperation between the two. The partnership will focus on 4 new areas over the coming months, including research and skills development. The agreement will also facilitate investment in the semiconductor industry and data centers. France wants to accelerate the developments and investments and grow them. The UAE has its eyes set on becoming a global AI leader over the next 10 years and has already had a boost with the announcement of a $1.5 billion investment from Microsoft in UAE-based artificial intelligence firm G42. France, meanwhile, sees itself as the leading country in Europe on AI. The agreements enhanced economic ties between France and the UAE, whose economic ties have been flourishing in recent years. Saudi Arabia has joined the International Agency for Research on Cancer, demonstrating its commitment to advancing cancer research and prevention. Part of the World Health Organization, the IARC, is focused on coordination and the carrying out of research into the causes of human cancer, the mechanisms of carcinogenesis, and the development of scientific strategies for cancer control. The agency is involved in both epidemiological and laboratory research and shares scientific information through publications, meetings, courses, and fellowships. Saudi Arabia faces a significant burden of cancer, with more than 28,000 new cases and approximately 13,400 cancer-related deaths in 2022. The most common cancer types for both sexes were breast cancer, colorectal cancer, and thyroid cancer. The increasing cancer burden in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is significantly influenced by risk factors such as elevated body mass index, smoking, social habits, and environmental and occupational exposures. Targeting these factors aligns with the government's agenda to combat non-communicable diseases and will be a key focus of the collaboration with the IARC. To Egypt now, where at least 10 people have died after a minibus carrying farm workers plunged into the Nile River. Authorities say the victims were all female workers, 9 of whom were children. The vehicle was being transported on a ferry crossing the river when tragedy struck. It's alleged the driver of the minibus released the handbrake, which resulted in the vehicle rolling off into the water. Using wooden boats to get to the minibus, locals did all they could to help rescue workers as they tried to save the people who were in the minibus. A crane was finally brought to the scene to lift the vehicle out of the water. The incident highlights the safety risks these women and children are exposed to. It's common for passengers to be crammed into minibuses way beyond the specified limit. This vehicle was carrying 24 passengers. 9 are in hospital and 5 more are unaccounted for. The driver, meanwhile, reportedly tried to flee the scene but was apprehended by police and arrested. The tragedies also brought into focus the difficult lives many women and children lead in agricultural areas along the Nile River. Young girls are often sent to work on farms, albeit they're underage. 9 of the deceased were between the ages of 13 and 16. At least 1.3 million children are child laborers in the Arab world's most populous nation, Egypt. Investigations into the incidents are being carried out. In Russia, a 77-year-old scientist has been jailed for 14 years on treason charges relating to the sharing of information about the country's hypersonic missile program with Germany. Physicist Anatoly Maslov's case was heard before a court in St. Petersburg in a closed session as the information being presented is top secret. The data he shared to German intelligence related to Russia's hypersonic missile program. Maslov denied the charges in court hearing last week before sentencing. His lawyer said he had done nothing wrong or illegal. He was devoted to his life with his family and domestic science. He did not transfer the alleged information, and it doesn't constitute a state secret, according to state media. Maslov, who was detained in June 2022, was an expert in the theoretical realm of hypersonic research, which has significant implications for Russia's cutting-edge missile program. He was the chief researcher at the Institute of Theoretical and Applied Mechanics, part of the Siberian branch of Russia's Academy of Sciences. Since 2022, at least 3 other Novosibirsk scientists, including the director of the facility where Maslov was employed, have been detained on various charges of treason. In South Africa, there's just 1 week to go until the country's 7th democratic elections take place on May the 29th. The 2024 national and provincial elections are being held to elect a new National Assembly as well as the provincial legislature in each of the 9 provinces. These elections are a crucial moment in the country's democracy, having been under the African National Congress government since 1994. With a staggering rate of unemployment, the ever-present threat of another bout of load shedding, crumbling parastatals and a looming water crisis, is the desire for change enough to unseat the ANC? Well, the Centre for Social Development in Africa has released a report detailing the findings of research into factors determining how South Africans are choosing who to vote for in the upcoming elections. Ingam Zileni reports.
It has been revealed that the ruling African National Congress continues to cling to power in every election, regardless of the breakaway parties that form every election year. Their secret: social grants. About 42% of South Africans receive a social grant, more than quadrupled the 6.5% when the strategy was adopted for all South Africans in 1994. In 2022, about 11% of the national budget was spent on social services, with the addition of unemployment grants. The South African Social Security Agency pays 26 million grants every month. A 2023 report by the Center for Social Development in Africa, or CSDA, showed that people continue to vote for the ANC for so they do not lose their social grants. In this recent report by CSDA, 3,511 respondents were split in half by gender. 51% were women, 45% were men, 67% were urban dwellers, and 33% were rural. More than half of the respondents were young, between the ages of 18 and 34. When asked who they would vote for in the coming elections, 33% said the ruling ANC, and 19% said the radical economic freedom fighters. 15% said they would vote for the main opposition party, the Democratic Alliance, and 12% said they would vote for other parties. Meanwhile, 21% said they would not vote or were not registered to vote.
So that's the problem.
What we see here is a high-level finding and something that has changed significantly between 2023 and our earlier surveys. The more grant beneficiaries are now choosing an opposition party than before. This is contrary to our earlier findings, which was, it's 53% currently, and it was 26% in 2020. So there's a big change there. The grant recipients also increased since 2020 due to the social relief of distress grant that was introduced.
The report also shows that the ANC support has fallen substantively from previous waves, where it hovered at just 50%. The main opposition's DA support remains steady, and the economic freedom fighters look to be a far more popular choice. The ANC has also enjoyed a majority over the years due to the coming together of parties that fought during apartheid. Those parties have since broken away to form smaller parties. In a week, South Africans will head to polling stations to determine which party will rule the Republic of South Africa. Experts say the ANC would likely lose its majority should the parties form coalitions, but that proves to be a bigger challenge for the young democratic country, as the opposition parties themselves do not agree on certain issues, proving that South Africa is not ready to be ruled by a multi-party system of governance. Inga Msileni, BGTN, in Johannesburg, South Africa.
And as the elections in India enter the last stages, the country's financial capital, Mumbai, has enjoyed a stream of who's who in the entertainment industry turning up at voting stations to cast their ballots. The 6-week-long Lok Sabha elections conclude on the 1st of June, and more than 1 billion people are eligible to vote, making it the largest elections in the world. Among the celebrities who've been spotted casting their votes include the king of Bollywood, Shah Rukh Khan. He was seen leaving a Mumbai polling station with his wife and 3 children in tow. Another Indian actor, Amitabh Bachchan, was spotted at a polling booth in the suburb of Andheri. And film stars seen out and about also include Deepika Padukone and Ranveer Singh, who are expecting their first child this year. But a heat wave kept many voters away from the polls, with a rather low turnout of between 47 and 55% across Mumbai's 6 constituencies. That's according to data from the Election Commission. Contesting the elections in the city are Modi's ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, the main opposition Indian National Congress, and 2 rival factions of Shiv Sena. In just a bit, BRICS Business.
Coming soon on BRICS Global Television.
I went into a tackle and he was this very big guy. He was a world wrestling champion. And I went in thinking that I'd be able to use my force to knock him over. And his shoulder connected my head, and that's when I broke my neck. So I lay on the field. We lay for about an hour. The ambulance couldn't get onto the field because it was a semi-professional game.
Every white cross represents a farmer who has been murdered. Some call these the forgotten farm murders.
Well, here we have it. Time to turn things around. You caught the taxi and watched the money drain out of your account. Now we're going to pay you if you are lucky enough to catch our taxi. Small problem. You've got to know a few things about BRICS. No, not the stuff you build your house with. Welcome to the BRICS on Wheels show.
In BRICS Business News, a US congressional investigations revealed a troubling trend in the auto industry. Major car makers BMW, Jaguar, Land Rover and Volkswagen have been found to have unknowingly used parts from a blacklisted Chinese supplier, Sichuan Jingweida Technology Group. This supplier raised red flags due to suspected use of forced labor, particularly against Uyghur Muslims in China's Xinjiang region. The Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act prohibits US imports linked to Xinjiang unless companies can prove no forced labor was involved. Jingweida was added to the list in 2023. The Senate report has highlighted the inadequacy of car makers' self-regulation in ensuring ethical supply chains. It criticized BMW for importing at least 8,000 Mini Coopers with banned parts. Volkswagen, however, managed to identify and replace the problematic components before selling the vehicle in the United States. The Senate committees urged US Customs to tighten enforcement and crack down on companies profiting from forced labor. China, meanwhile, has vehemently condemned the act, dismissing it as a tactic to disrupt trade and bully other nations. In India, government's Spice Board is carrying out inspections of 2 top factories following claims some of their products carry a health risk. This comes in the wake of bans from foreign companies who claim they've been tainted with pesticides. India's spice products make up around 12% of global exports, with last year's value over $4 billion. According to the Global Trade Research Initiative, 2 companies are being probed, MDH and Everest. Their combined product output makes up more than a quarter of India's market. The Spices Board of India wants to make sure their spices meet export standards. Nepal, Hong Kong and Singapore have banned the products, claiming they contain ethylene oxide. Other major importers, including Australia, Britain and the United States, are demanding additional information on the spices and are considering extra quality control measures be put in place. Both spice companies have denied their products pose a health risk. Ethylene oxide is used as a pesticide and can also be used as a sterilizing agent in spices to prevent illness caused by Salmonella and E. coli bacteria. According to the US Environmental Protection Agency, the organic compound can increase the risk of cancers of white blood cells when an individual is exposed to it regularly. Coming up, Yolanda Pondo with BRICS Sports News.
"22 Seconds" came about. I've been working on human trafficking stories recently. I've been doing documentaries. It was just like, are we doing enough? It was a campaign that was, let's challenge ourselves, let's get it out there, let's try and reach as much people as possible.
130 people are trafficked all around the world per hour. So every 22 seconds, someone is being trafficked. 22 seconds could be your walk from a school gate inside the school. It could be your walk from your house to the bus station. It's just a short distance.
This campaign is a campaign that is set to raise awareness, to show the severity of this crime that's happening around us. I'm hoping that it will get society to speak about it. It will get communities, governments and organizations to come together and tackle this. I'm hoping that it will get the young girl, the young boy to understand the dangers that we live around.
And we're speaking to schools so that children are also aware of this. Teachers are aware, because also teachers play a vital role into seeing kids that they teach that this child was not like this. The campaign is running for a month, but that's not where our work will end. We will continue campaigning and we will continue moving towards our goal of getting 22 million signatures.
You can share the campaign firstly on social media using the hashtags 22 seconds not for sale, hashtag 22 seconds empower change, because we are empowering change. Please sign the petition. The whole idea also behind the petition is that once we reach 22 million signatures, we will take it to the UN.
It is up to us to raise awareness and show human trafficking that it has no place in our society.
On 3. Let's go. Right hand on 3 for super.
Gangster Museum and Township Tours takes us on a transformative journey alongside reformed gangsters, showcasing the remarkable evolution from purveyors of drugs and violence to architects of captivating tourist attraction.
We're primarily focused on alleviating gangsterism, so we take people around the townships.
Ava, I think you should watch BGTN TV because it's the best.
Hello, I'm Yolanda Pondo. In Saudi Arabia, the Women's Tennis Tour has partnered with the Kingdom's Sovereign Wealth Fund, mirroring a similar deal struck by the Men's Tour early this year. The WTA hopes the multi-year agreement will boost women's tennis globally and inspire more girls to play. This partnership also makes the Sovereign Wealth Fund the first ever naming partner of the WTA rankings. This move comes alongside the recent announcement that the prestigious WTA finals will be held in Riyadh for the next 3 years, starting in 2024. This partnership aligns with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 plan to diversify its economy and soften its image. The kingdom aims to become a global sports destination, evident in its recent hosting of the ATP Next Gen Finals, exhibition matches featuring top players, and the appointment of Rafael Nadal as a tennis ambassador. Beyond tennis, Saudi Arabia has hosted Formula One, MotoGP, and the Dakar Rally. The country's football league has also attracted high-profile players, and it recently hosted the heavyweight boxing championship between Usyk and Fury. I'll be back again tomorrow with more BRICS sports news. Until then, please check out our website for updates.
Coming soon on BRICS Global Television.
This blind kid arrives. I get emotional. And he's special needs and he's blind. And they can't talk to him. So I grab him and I put him on the boxing bag and I put the gloves on and I illustrate to him, hit the bag. And just to see this child learn in 1 minute how to let his aggression go, and he loved it. And he was squealing because obviously he was mentally challenged and things like that. Just to see that, sure, it was incredible.
For many, dance in Africa is a rich cultural expression, serving various purposes like entertainment and religious rituals. However, over thousands of years, dance in Africa has been used as a secret way to communicate, sometimes during birth and death, frequently to each other, and at times directly to the gods.
Coming soon on BRICS Global Television.
Now, can your program be copied overseas, or is it exclusively designed for South Africa's society?
So it can definitely be replicated. We've replicated it in businesses even, and we've used it in after-school programs that are not in school specifically. So we've already seen that it works in different contexts, and we'd love to take it overseas because obviously a few tweaks here and there, if needed, can be made. But the point is the basic model is something that anyone can use.
And finally, for many young women in South Africa, that time of the month poses an ever-present worry due to financial constraints that mean their families simply cannot afford to provide them with the safe and hygienic menstrual products they need. BGTN's Tana Bester has more.
A girl, as we speak right now in South Africa, who has already missed the day of school today or cannot go to school tomorrow simply because they do not have a packet of sanitary pads. So affordability is a big issue.
We buy pads for ourselves. We keep them in the sick bay. So if a child is in need, when they come to the sick bay, we know that we have to give them. Pads are very expensive. And then even if the child knows I'm on my periods, Because at home they didn't buy. The child will pretend as if it just started now, knowing exactly that it started long, the only thing at home they don't have.
These young girls come from impoverished homes where food is difficult to come by, let alone sanitary pads. Millions of young girls are in the same situation.
They just make me feel overwhelmed, like it's too much. The prices are high and I can't afford.
Some days I couldn't have sanitary pads. My mom used to give me a cloth.
4 in 5 South African girls don't have access to menstrual hygiene products. They feel embarrassed and are often afraid, stressed, lonely, and helpless when they have their periods. The result is that most of them choose to miss school during this time, which causes them to fall behind in their studies. The term menstrual poverty has been coined.
I found out they were using rags, tissue, t-shirts, newspaper, grass, feathers, sand, all kinds of terrible, unhygienic things, even cow dung wrapped in a cloth. Anything unhygienic just to try and absorb the blood. I just thought, I don't want these girls to be dependent on me. I want them to have their freedom and to enjoy their period without being dependent on anybody. I wanted to take the age-old solution, which is the cloth pad, but modernize it with new fabrics, new designs, so that it can actually work for the modern woman.
Palesa Pads packages reusable sanitary products that last up to 5 years. Owner Cherie de Vet read an article about girls missing school because of this, quit her job and used all her money to set up this organization to help provide sanitary pads to girls who couldn't afford to buy them.
Palesa pads have been really helpful because I can use them more than once. They're very comfortable, they do not leak, they do not stink, so yeah, they've been very helpful.
I cannot come to school whenever I'm on my periods, yes, and I can walk freely.
For these young girls, it's a life changer.
We need to do the best we can to make sure that our young girls, our sisters, our cousins, and those girls in the communities where we come from are always taken care of, more especially with issues of sanitary pads.
And we'll be back again tomorrow with more BRICS news. Until then, keep up to date by visiting our website and social media.